Welcome to Mini Mind Hack. Today we dive into a phenomenon known as mental rumination. We all know that voice, the one that never shuts up. It replays the worst parts of your day, runs awkward conversations on loop, and invents disasters 5 steps ahead. That voice is mental rumination. Repetitive, passive thinking about the same negative content that never moves you toward a solution. It's not planning. It's not constructive problem solving, it's rehearsal for worst-case scenarios, and it eats time, focus, and calm. In this episode of Mini Mind Hack, I'll explain what rumination actually is, why your brain gets stuck on repeat, and then show straightforward, science-backed ways to break the loop. Practical techniques you can try today. Rumination looks simple on the surface. You think about something, and then you think about it again and again. But there are 3 things that make it a problem. First, the thought comes back uninvited, over and over. Second, it drains mental energy instead of producing action. Third, it often centers on blame, shame, or imagined catastrophes. If your mind is replaying the same scene like a scratched record, that's rumination. It's that internal monologue that leaves you exhausted at the end of the day without having solved anything useful. To understand why the brain does this, we have to get a little practical about its wiring. Evolution built your brain to find and respond to threats. That made sense on a savanna where missing a predator was fatal. The brain's threat detection system is fast and biased toward negative possibilities. It prefers safe over accurate. Part of this system is the default mode network, or DMN, which activates when you're not focused on a specific task. The DMN is brilliant for daydreaming, planning, and memory, but it's also the place where rumination nests. When the DMN runs unchecked, your mind replays past slights and future anxieties with surprising intensity. Another player is the amygdala, the brain's alarm bell. When the amygdala senses something emotionally relevant, real or imagined, it raises the alarm and floods the system with signals that prioritize survival. That pushes thinking away from calm analysis into defensive looping. The prefrontal cortex, the rational control center that usually calms the amygdala and stops unhelpful loops, can be overwhelmed under stress. When that happens, your capacity to reframe or take perspective shrinks, and the loop keeps spinning. Add to this a quirk in our reward system. The brain can mistake repetitive worrying for productive mental work, so rumination can feel like doing something even when it isn't. Knowing this wiring helps make the difference between feeling guilty about overthinking and actually changing it. Problem solving and rumination may look similar at first, but they are fundamentally different. Problem solving leads to action. You identify a concrete next step, and you do it. Rumination creates mental movement that goes nowhere. It's a treadmill with no exit. A useful question to differentiate the two is simple. Can I take a concrete step about this right now? If yes, take one small action. If no, decide to defer the thought to a specific time and move on. That small habit, deciding action now or worry later, breaks a lot of loops. Rumination shows itself not just as busy thoughts, but in real life. Sleepless nights, scattered attention, irritability, procrastination, and a low-grade sense of dread. Over time, chronic rumination raises the risk of anxiety and depression. The good news is that it's a habit, and habits can be changed. The following practices are designed to target the exact brain mechanics that keep rumination alive. They move attention away from the DMN, calm the amygdala, and re-engage the prefrontal cortex. First, use a pattern, interrupt. Do something physical to break the loop. It doesn't have to be complicated. Stand, take 10 quick heel raises, do a short set of squats, wash your face with cold water, or walk briskly for 30 seconds. Physical action shifts neural activity away from idle mental loops and gives your brain new sensory input to process. It's crude, but effective. Second, use the solvability test. When a worry appears, ask, "Can I act on this now?" If you can, pick one tiny step and do it immediately. If you can't, say out loud, "I will set aside 15 minutes tomorrow to deal with this," and mentally close the file. Scheduling a specific worry slot teaches your mind there is a place to process concerns. You don't have to do it right now. Third, externalize the thought. Write it down. 1 minute of free writing or a short brain dump transfers the thought from inside your head onto paper, which reduces its emotional charge. After you write it, add one small concrete next step, or a reality check sentence. Seeing the problem outside your head often diminishes its grip. Fourth, practice micro-mindfulness. Train attention with brief, repeatable exercises. Pick a single object and study it for 10 seconds, noting texture, color, and edges. Focus on your breath for 30 seconds. These tiny attentional workouts build the ability to pull your mind out of the loop quickly when it starts. Fifth, use cognitive reframing. Replace unhelpful internal questions like, "Why me?" or "What if I fail?" with practical prompts. "Is this useful?" or "What would I tell a friend?" That change of question shifts the mind from self-blame to problem orientation and reduces emotional escalation. Sixth, set up small behavioral resets. Do a short chore, step outside, make a quick call, or tidy one corner of your desk. Physical change often clears mental fog and gives the prefrontal cortex a fresh window to operate. Seventh, adopt a short anchor phrase as a mental break. A curt, repeatable sentence like, "Stop, not now," or "Not useful" works as a conditioned cue to interrupt the loop. Say it out loud or in your head, and then switch to a concrete action. If you want a compact exercise to try right now, stand up and take a deep breath in and out. Do 10 quick heel raises, shake your hands, and then focus on one object in the room for 10 seconds, naming 3 details out loud. That sequence, movement, breath, focused attention, is a full pattern interrupt. It rarely takes more than a minute, and it's portable anywhere. Why do these methods work? Because they change input to the brain. Moving your body, touching something cold, writing things down, or focusing on a single sensory detail provide new data that quiets the DMN and calms the amygdala. The prefrontal cortex can then re-engage and make better decisions. Repetition strengthens new neural pathways, so the more you use these strategies, the easier it becomes to habitually step out of unhelpful loops. It's worth pointing out a few pitfalls. These strategies are powerful for mild to moderate rumination, but if thoughts are overwhelming or persistent, seek professional help. Rumination is also a core feature of some mood and anxiety disorders, and evidence-based therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy can offer structured, long-term help. Rumination is not a moral failing, it's an evolutionary mismatch. A system that once kept our ancestors alive now misfires in a world of constant low-level social stress. The goal is not to eliminate thinking. That's impossible and not desirable, but to learn the skill of steering your attention. Small, consistent practices compound into a new mental habit. Less replay, more action, and more calm. To recap, rumination is a stuck mental loop that drains energy and raises anxiety. It's driven by the DMN, an overactive amygdala, and a prefrontal cortex that can be outmatched under stress. The fix is practical. Interrupt the pattern with brief movement or sensory change, externalize worries by writing, time box worry into a scheduled slot, practice quick attention exercises, and use short anchor phrases to halt the loop. Try a 1-minute pattern interrupt next time your mind spirals, or commit to a 7-day experiment where you label each rumination and apply one of these techniques. Small experiments yield real results. If you'd like to try this as a guided practice, stand up now and follow the pattern we did earlier. Deep breath, 10 quick heel raises, a shake of the hands, and then name 3 details of an object in the room. Notice how you feel. If your mind still spins, repeat it. Over time, this sequence will become a reliable mental reset. Remember, your brain is doing what it was built to do, albeit poorly adapted to modern life. You're not broken, you just need to teach it a new habit. With simple, repeatable tools and a little patience, the stuck record can be changed. Try one mini mind hack today and see what shifts. Thank you for watching. If you found this video enlightening, please like, comment, or subscribe to support more content like this. The description below includes studies and sources for deeper reading. I really appreciate you spending this time with me. See you next time.